Becoming a guildmaster usually starts the same way. You're motivated, you're excited, you look at your current guild and think, I could do this better. Maybe you want more structure, maybe you want less drama, or maybe just a place where people will actually show up and try. What no one tells you is what this role actually costs. If you're thinking about becoming a guildmaster, or you already are a guildmaster, or a raid leader, whichever, they're interchangeable sometimes. This is the conversation I wish someone had with me. How's it going? I'm Abysmal, and I'm the guild master and raid leader of a 2-night mythic raiding guild in World of Warcraft. This channel isn't about boss guides or parses, it's about the behind the scenes and the reality of running a guild, leadership, systems, burnout, and keeping something alive over multiple expansions. And today I want to talk to you about the things no one tells you before you become a guild master. Or raid leader. I didn't start out trying to run a serious guild. As a matter of fact, I inherited the guild I run at the moment. The previous guild master had stepped down due to real life situations, and I was an officer at that point in time, and I was voted in by the rest of my officers. The guild began as a social guild. I was brand new to the game when I joined. I had no idea really what I was doing. I just came in like any other member would. People helped me learn the game, learn the class that I was playing at the time, and I reached out and I made connections where I could. Don't get me wrong, I was very quiet for the first 3 months or so. So don't be too scared if you are brand new. You know, there is friendly people out there in this game, and there's some great connections to be made. But yes, I had zero expectations. The guild itself that was at that point currently had zero expectations, and around about the 5-6 month period after I joined, I applied to become an officer, and I was accepted after a short trial period. But yeah, there was people hanging out, raids were optional, performance didn't really matter. Over the course of 2 expansions after I'd taken over, so at the end of Shadowlands, at the start of Dragonflight, that slowly progressed and changed over time. Players wanted more, standards crept in, I wanted more, goals got higher, and eventually we transitioned into the current day where we are now a guild, a mythic raiding guild, with cutting edge aspirations. Full mythic clears is what we're aiming for now, limited time, real expectations. And that transition taught me more about leadership than any boss ever did. Here's what no one tells you. First thing, you will care more than anyone else. And I don't mean a little more, I mean significantly more. You'll think about the roster when you're not logged in, you'll notice mood shifts before the raid, you'll replay conversations in your head that nobody else even remembers. Most members log in for raid night. You log in carrying the weight of the entire guild sometimes, depending on what's going on your shoulders there. That gap in emotional investment never goes away, and if you expect anyone else to care as much as you do, you will burn out faster than you think. The healthiest thing you can accept as a GM is this: the guild will always matter more to you than it does to most players, and that's normal. The second thing no one tells you is this: you will be the bad guy, even when you're right, and even when you're wrong. You'll be the bad guy as well. The moment expectations appear, someone will be unhappy. For example, benching someone, saying no to a friend, turning down a trial who feels like they're a good fit. From your point of view, you're protecting the guild. From theirs, it feels personal. When we started our transition from a social guild into a more of an AOTC guild, that's what it was in Vault of the Incarnates, and then after Vault of the Incarnates we went into Aberrus, got AOTC 3rd or 4th week, and we decided we'd give Mythic a go. We spent a week or 2 gathering the recruits and a few people here and there, and we went into Mythic. We got 3 bosses down. And that was all we had. That was all we had in the tank, and that was fine because the expectations weren't there. Nobody really had a goal in mind. And it was the next tier, Amir Drasil, that things got a bit confused. Half the team felt like they wanted to go push more and harder, and the other guild were quite happy just having a more chilled, laid back approach to the raid. And conflict can arise here if you don't set expectations fast, clean, and just lay it down. Communicate with your raiders. It can do a lot more damage than you'd think if you don't get this put in concrete fast. But yes, when we transitioned into that mid-mythic, see what we can do, into now current day, cutting edge is the goal. Myself and the officers sat down and we played out a concrete plan of laying out what the expectations were, what we expected from our raiders, and what the raiders could expect back from us. And I would say this is one of the most important things you can do if you're going through this transition yourself. Some of the casualties we had along the way, from when we were clearing normal in Sepulchre of the first ones in the end of Shadowlands, people who had been around a long time suddenly didn't meet the new standards of AOTC. As some of you, if you have been raiding Mythic for a long time, that can sound mind-boggling, but it's true. There's a huge gap in raiding standards and performance, and you kind of forget about where you came from once you do enter the mid to late Mythic raids. It's very easy to forget how much learning and how much effort and time you put into getting better, and not everybody does that. But yeah, you lose people along the way, and no matter how calmly or how fairly you explain it to someone, people always walk away thinking that you're the villain. Back to my original point there, that you will be the bad guy. It's part of the job. Leadership isn't about being liked. Well, it is to a certain extent, but it's about being consistent and getting a job done that nobody else wants to do. And that can have a toll. Somebody has to make these decisions. The third thing that no one tells you about is that drama rarely comes from bad people. Of course, don't get me wrong, you do get the occasional bad seed that, is just toxic or whatnot, and that needs to be nipped in the bud very fast. And if it's not, whatever it may be, toxicity, it festers. And once it's started festering, there's I'm sure some of you have been in guilds like that, and you know what the outcome is. It's not good. Most guild drama comes from good people who want different things. One person wants cutting edge at any cost, another wants strong progress but chill vibes, someone wants constant feedback, someone else just wants peace. None of these are wrong, but when expectations aren't clearly stated, they collide. Looking back, almost every serious issue we had during our transition came from expectations we thought were obvious, but we never actually said it out loud. Unspoken expectations are the fastest way to kill a guild. Rules help, but clarity helps more. The fourth thing no one tells you is that the role will test your boundaries. People will DM you when they're frustrated, they'll vent, they'll want reassurance, they'll want answers right now. And if you don't set limits, the role will quietly expand until it fills all of your free time. I learned this the hard way. Being available doesn't mean being available all the time. You're allowed to log off, you're allowed to delay conversations, you're allowed to protect your own energy. Healthy boundaries don't hurt guilds, they keep leaders from disappearing. And the fifth thing no one tells you is how guilds actually die. Most guilds don't explode, they don't end in dramatic blow-ups like you see on, your YouTube videos or on X or on Twitter. They simply fade. Recruitment slows, officers disengage, leaders stop pushing because they're tired. You don't wake up one day and quit, you just stop caring as much. Burnout doesn't look dramatic, it looks like silence. And this is especially true after transitions, like moving from social to a Mythic Progress Guild. The pressure increases, but the emotional cost is rarely acknowledged. I want to be clear about something. I'm not saying this to scare people away from becoming guild masters. Being a GM can be incredibly rewarding, same as raid lead, and it's one of the most rewarding things I've done to date. It's incredible. It's an incredible feeling when you spend weeks or hundreds of pulls on a boss, and then that moment when you finally kill it, there's nothing like it. It's what we all chase. Watching a group grow, clearing content together, building something that lasts longer than just a tier, but expansion upon expansion. But it only works if you treat this role like leadership, not obligation. When we made the push towards cutting edge where we are now, we didn't quite get it this season, but we've come closer than we ever have before with 7 out of 8 Mythic and Mana Forge Omega. The guild didn't survive because we played better. It survived because expectations were clarified, boundaries were set, and leadership stopped trying to be everything to everyone. If you're a guild master and this video hits close home to you, you're not weak, you're not failing, you're just doing one of the hardest yet most rewarding jobs there is in World of Warcraft when it comes to guilds. And that's what this channel is about. Roster systems that survive absence, managing expectations without burning bridges, avoiding burnout while still pushing progression. If you're a GM or an officer or a raid leader, leave a comment below. What's one thing you wish someone told you before you took on the role? In the next video, we'll be talking about 5 mistakes that will quietly kill WoW guilds. And yes, I've most likely made every single one of them along the way. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you found something interesting to take away from this video. You can maybe implement or take a second look at about how your guild's operating. I hope not. I hope everything's running fine and you just get entertainment out of this. Thanks, guys. I'll catch you next time.